Nomad Tour Guides. I'm Carrie.
I'm Catherine.
And I'm Bree.
Today we are taking you on a tour of Zanzibar. I've never been.
No.
I actually had to look it up of like what country it was in because I didn't know. So fun fact, Zanzibar is semi-autonomous and it's part of Tanzania. Mm-hmm. So I had a professor in college do a Fulbright in Tanzania. And so where I have not been, I have sung a lot of songs in Swahili, which is their primary language, but they do also speak multiple other languages there.
Arabic. And,
Yeah.
I've never been. I've only been to one country in Africa, which is Egypt, which we've talked about before. But when we were picking, we saw pictures of like Stone Town, and it's just so beautiful. So we decided to.
We'll talk about Stone Town a little bit in mine.
Yeah,
Mine too.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
So why don't you explain why we are sober today?
We are sober. One might say stone cold sober. Because Zanzibar is primarily primarily Muslim, and as part of the Islamic faith, they do not drink alcohol. Most of the alcohol that's found in Zanzibar is in the tourist attractions and tourist hotels, and so obviously they would not have a cultural drink.
That makes sense for them, yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, when foreign powers came in, they would bring some of their culture with them, so I did find some, like, German beers, but...
We gonna talk about foreign powers.
Yes, we are! And so, obviously, they don't have that. However, a popular drink there is tea, specifically chai tea.
Which means tea, which is always fun.
Yes.
Tea.
Yeah.
Or masala chai. So... Yeah. It's my favorite tea. It actually originated in India, but Zanzibar is part of the spice trade.
Our food has influence from India as well today. Mm-hmm.
And so because they're part of the spice trade, a lot of these spices that are used in chai come from Zanzibar.
And used in
food.
Ilu, which...
I really tried to buy the ingredients to make it from scratch, but because of COVID, I could not. So I just bought 2 types of chai, and we're drinking them now. I have a nice vanilla chai by Bigelow, and Catherine and Bree are drinking an original chai by Tazo. So some of the spices that...
we should have had Rupal make it for us.
Oh.
She makes it. It's so good, but she grates everything fresh and puts it in a strainer and makes it. Just another thing Rupal does that's perfect.
Hey, Rupal. Can you make us some chai, please?
She will. If she literally was listening to this live, there'd be a knock on the door in 20 minutes, and she'd have little cups and be like, hey, guys, look at what I made for you. Because she is perfect.
Rupal, I love you. So, Zanzibar has excuse me. I lost my place in my notes. Pause. So, Zanzibar produces most of the world's cinnamon, nutmeg, black pepper, and cloves. And so, for chai tea, you need 5 to 7 green cardamom pods, 3 to 4 whole cloves, 1 or 2 star anise, those are optional, 5 to 7 peppercorns, also optional, but he doesn't like a little peppery, 2 to 3 ginger slices, a half cinnamon stick, 1 to 2 tablespoons of loose leaf black tea, or if you're using tea bags, that's 1 to 2 tea bags, milk of your choice, and a sugar or sweetener of your choice, in addition to the obvious water that you'll be using to boil this in. So, to make chai tea, you will crush the cardamom, cloves, star anise, and peppercorns, and place in a small pot with the water, about a cup of water. You'll then add the slices of ginger, cinnamon, and black tea, and just muddle it together a little bit to get all those ingredients to release the flavors. You'll bring it to a boil and turn off the heat and let it steep at least 10 minutes. But know that the longer you let it steep, the stronger the flavor will be. So if you're me, you'd let it steep for like 5 hours because I love a slap you in the face strong tea.
I still have my tea bag in, and it's been like an hour.
So. I don't take it out.
Yeah.
I literally just don't take the tea bag out.
I do with certain kinds of tea because like you're supposed to for like peak flavor. Like for green teas and things, I follow the brewing instructions.
I don't.
Yeah.
But then you
I'm also
strain.
like super pretentious with tea. You drink a lot of it, but I feel like you're too busy drinking it to be pretentious about it.
Yeah.
Catherine pretentious? No.
No, I just got some loose leaf tea from my trip. I got an inflammation blend.
Oh.
Ooh.
So, also me being the environmentalist that I am, I love loose leaf tea.
Love loose
There's
leaf
also
tea.
there's an amazing tea shop that I really wish I could have looked to see if they had black tea, because the only black tea I could find was bagged, and I really didn't want to buy just plain black tea that was bagged if it wasn't. It's not special.
Yeah.
I have these cute little tea strainer things, and one's like a narwhal,
Oh.
and one's a pair of
Mine's
mittens,
Aw.
and I have like a sloth and a hedgehog. I got it. They're cute. I got a few of them.
Mine are
That's
boring.
cute.
Y'all, if y'all want to send me cute little
Oh yes,
animal
tea.
style.
Mine's just a lemon. It's a little lemon
Oh.
slice. Maybe you put it in your tea.
Mine is boring as fuck. Anyway, so strain all that out, and that's the masala chai. Once you add the milk, it turns it into the little chai latte that's very popular.
It's so good.
It was.
It's like the white girl version
I was
of
about to
this.
say.
Like, it's, if you give me an iced chai tea latte
Oh yeah.
or an iced matcha latte, it's gone. I literally am like, where did I drink that so fast?
Okay,
It's
me
so good.
me and my pretentious ass. When I go to Starbucks, I don't get the chai latte. I get chai tea, and then you add the milk, because
Yeah.
Starbucks, that's fake.
Yeah.
Call
Well, also
you
it's all
out.
ice.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Well,
like,
it's also
no ice
it
or
also they
easy
add a lot
ice
of
or
sugar
shit.
to their
Yeah.
chai mix.
So
So
much
when I
sugar.
go, I ask them to brew tea and then make it also,
Uh-huh.
because then there's no sugar in it.
Right.
And
Because
they're
the
always
next
like, wait,
step,
you want me to brew chai tea and then make it iced?
every
And I'm
single
like,
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
And
Yeah.
easy ice, you hoes.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, but there's so much sugar
Oh my gosh, I
in
can't stand it.
the flavoring.
I don't do a lot of sugar anyway. As I've mentioned before, like, me and sugar don't get along, and it just, ugh. Okay, anyway, the masala chai is without milk or sweetener. You then add the milk, add the sweetener if you want, and that is your chai latte.
It's Colin's favorite tea too. Chai.
It's so good.
See, I would like it if I could fuck with cinnamon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm such an autumn person that this just
yeah.
has
Yeah.
those comfort flavors.
Do you know how hard it is to not like cinnamon when, like, fall is the only season that matters to me?
Yeah.
So
Like,
fucking hard.
September to November, that is my peak time. That's where
Yeah.
I thrive. Unfortunately, my skin is not in autumn. I am a winter skin, and I wish I could pull off those beautiful autumn colors.
I don't know what black is my color profile.
Honestly.
My
Black.
color, my skin color profile is not one of the 4 seasons. It's just death. So I just
Yeah.
wear black.
So, one thing with making this chai from scratch is you can customize it in so many ways. Like I said, you don't have to add the milk. I don't like adding a whole lot to mine, especially sweeteners.
You could probably not add cinnamon
Yeah.
and make it at home.
Well, when you said that, I thought about that.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
I'll
so-
try that.
You
I
can
like
try
it with
that.
almond milk,
Uh-huh.
like a little bit of unsweetened vanilla almond milk.
Oh, yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah, and well, like, this has it 1 for 1 cup of chai to 1 cup of milk. I don't like it that strong, and so I literally just do a splash, like a dollop of just whipping cream, heavy
Yeah.
cream,
So
because it's delicious. And also, you can make a really big batch of just the masala chai and leave it in the fridge for up to 4 days, and just when you get it out, heat it up.
Yeah, they make it fresh every time at Rupal's house.
Oh.
And she, like, grates the ginger fresh into the pot every time.
Oh,
But they make it every night because Mom likes it.
yum.
Because
Yeah.
Mom lives with them.
Mm.
But so Mom and I always have tea together.
Well, and one thing that this article had was adding mint to it.
Interesting.
And I think that would be delicious.
It is, because it's a very light flavor and these are
Yeah.
very heavy flavors.
Uh-huh. So I want to try that at some point.
Not like intensity-wise,
Right,
but
yeah.
like flavor profile-wise.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it adds a little brightness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my mint died when I was away on vacation,
Yeah.
but my basil is ginormous, and all my roses bloomed again, and my lemons are the size of my hand.
Okay, well, Green Thumb, come hook up my basil.
I was gone. That was my former student who watched my house, so my basil's huge.
I need her.
Yeah.
My succulents haven't all died yet.
My bonsai tree flourished, too. I left him in a bowl of water. It's like what it said to do.
Yeah.
For, like, you can leave him in a bowl of water for up to 10 days. Junie is thriving. Look at him. Look how green he is.
He's going.
But,
Yeah. So, actually, I have one more surprise for y'all. Oh. So, I made bathtub gin. And so I brought it over here for them to try.
She put it on the podcast. She's like, don't worry, I won't make you guys try it. I'm like, you didn't actually make it in your bathtub, so I guess we could.
Yeah, so I posted the process on my Instagram. This obviously is going to be coming out like 3 weeks after that happened. Granted, I don't post anything hardly ever on Instagram.
Same.
And so I like went on an Instagram spree and just posted like 5 things. It was so intense. I don't think I'll post for another year. But
For real, though.
but yeah, so I have it with me so we can all try it.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a little pause right here so that way I can get it poured and we can try my bathtub gin.
Hoot hoot.
And we're back. So this is a homemade gin kit that my brother gave me for my birthday. I think I mentioned it in our Tokyo episode because that was my birthday.
Yeah. And we said, we're not drinking bathtub gin.
Nita just licked my face.
Aw.
Her breath is bad.
I eat.
And so basically, it's called gin. It's basically spiced vodka, because you get a handle of vodka and you split it up into 2 jars, and then you put juniper berries in it and let it sit for 24 hours. Then after that 24 hours, you add in the rest of the spices. So a modern twist on gin is putting coriander in it, which, what's another word for coriander? Cilantro.
Yeah.
What can I not eat? That. And so
we bought a bottle of Western Sun's gin so that Carrie could try their gin, and it has coriander in it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And luckily, I mean, I did go on the distillery tour, and I don't think it will hurt me, but I really, really don't want to try it and tempt fate, because with the way that fate is twisted, it'd probably have like an extreme reaction, and I would be dead. I don't actually die when I have cilantro. That was
We would, though.
hyperbole. Yeah,
We're
they
at
would.
our house.
Sorry. So, and so I ended up making my own little concoction of spices. But I used a bay leaf in each, cloves, peppercorns, some lavender, hibiscus.
Which another tea that I love, and lavender. Both good teas.
And it also turned it a beautiful rosy color.
Yeah, it's cute.
And it smells nice and spicy. And yeah, it tastes it's pretty nice. I mean, it tastes like spiced vodka, not really like gin. But we made a little drink out of it. I used probably about 1.5 ounces of the gin, quote unquote, with some lemon juice and an lemon elderflower soda that I got from Trader Joe's, but it's too sweet to drink on its own, so I figured it'd be good as a mixer.
It's good.
Yeah, and so it's a nice, refreshing drink. Catherine had a little bit of it, just by itself. Brie and I are both
We actually probably could have poured a little bit of it into our tea.
could have.
In Wales, they do like Baileys and hot chocolate.
Oh, yeah. That shit's bomb titties.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's extremely cozy, and so whenever I think of like hot drinks, I always think of like this adorable Welsh couple like being like, here, we made you hot chocolate, and I was like, oh, thank you. And I tasted it and I was like, oh my god, there's alcohol in this. You guys are amazing.
Yes. Or
I was like-
Baileys and coffee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Colin-
what Zach's family does.
Colin
for
loves rum
Christmas.
chata
Oh, yeah.
and coffee, and at Christmas we
Yeah.
do.
Rum. He does rum chata and
loves
coffee.
rum chata. I can't do it.
Yeah.
When I was in college, I was really trashy and would put the whipped vodka in hot chocolate.
Hey, you know what?
It worked.
Do, peppermint schnapps and hot chocolate.
Ooh. Zach would die.
Ugh, guys, I'm ready for winter. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
ready for fall.
Oh, yeah.
I bought 3 Christmas ornaments on vacation, just to let you guys know. That's where my head is at.
I am excited for this Christmas now that I like have friends that I hang out with.
Well, we did a Friendsgiving last year. We'll do another one. It's really fun.
We just came together, hung out.
I was really proud of my turkey too.
Oh yeah.
Because I normally don't cook meat, and so that was my first time ever making turkey, and it was like good.
I
It
make
was
killer
good.
potatoes.
You can make potatoes. I'll always eat potatoes. Speaking of not eating meat,
Heyo, good transition.
thank you. I planned it when we were drinking gin. So I made, and this is technically called East African, because like most of our foods, there are tons of variations. But this is called East African pilau. I literally
She
had,
only
a,
had a sip.
sip of gin. I'm on like my 3rd Diet Coke of the day. But I worked out, so I'm exhausted. Life is, oh my gosh. I went to a gym and like worked out in a mask because I hate people. So I was in a mask and it was so hot and I did it. So
That's why you work out at your house.
yeah, but I'm not quite...
Beachbody,
I'm not
sponsor us.
quite as accountable if I am at my house because I'm like, oh, look at this cat laying on me. Guess I better lay down in the middle of the living room.
I was working out, I think it was Saturday, last Friday, something, and my cat was being super needy. And so I started my workout, and it was like a dance cardio workout. And so obviously my legs are flailing, and she just wanted to rub on my legs. And I was like, girl, you can't do this. I'm going to launch you. And luckily, her little automatic feeder went off, and she ran upstairs. Like a fat ass.
So, East African pilau rice or pilaf
Yeah.
or pilo, there's different ones. But, so this is a vegan rice, and that's how I made it. I made it vegan. Some people say you can like top it with fish. Apparently octopus is really common in Zanzibar. But again, not super easy to find, and I have never cooked octopus, and I know it's atrociously difficult, and it gets rubbery if you do it wrong.
Uh-huh.
So it has a ton of ingredients in it, but it's really easy to make, and I technically cheated and did a little shortcut and cooked my rice in the rice cooker and then made a sauce and mixed it instead of cooking the rice in it, which is like part of what makes it a pilaf, but it's okay. So we
just cheated all over the place.
Yeah. Oh, wait till you hear my case. So, also, I just got back from vacation, so that's my excuse, but not really. So, it's a technique that's from the Middle East, and then it gained popularity in neighboring countries. It went all the way through the world. So, this probably came from India and the Caribbean, and slaves are what would have brought it here. And it's known as rice pilaf, or pilaf pilu, or pilau. And it's very, very good. So, a lot of different things that you can do. I sauteed cashews, garlic, and ginger, and those were all fresh. And then I added in spices. I added in curry, cumin, cardamom, cinnamon, paprika, pepper, and I did fresh garlic and ginger. Then I added in a jalapeno, tomatoes, red bell pepper, and onion. Sauteed all of that together. Then I added a can of coconut milk.
Yum.
And then mixed it in with the rice. So it's completely vegan. The coconut milk makes it really like buttery and creamy. It didn't make it sweet at all because that was a very like spicy, not like hot spicy, but like spice filled, very delicious meal. And I like cashews a lot.
Yes.
And I like
that was my favorite.
yeah,
part.
I like nut
surprise cashews.
like, I know. Yeah. Well, and I cooked them first. Like I sauteed them first,
Yeah.
and then so they released all the cashew oil, and that's like the basis. But that adds like a lot of protein without adding any animal byproducts.
Yeah.
So it was really good. I was full, and I simmered the sauce and then mixed it in with I used basmati rice, which is a softer rice, so I don't know how well it would have held up if I cooked it inside the sauce per se, but it's really good. I really enjoyed it.
I had fourths, so
Yeah.
I literally just kept going back for more.
Yeah, it was really good. Like you said, the cashews. Like every time I got a cashew, I was like, "Yay!"
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's good. And so food there. So they do a French fry omelet, that looked awesome that I thought about making.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Can we do that for funsies?
Yeah, I know. So they
Since I brought out my bathtub gin, can you make us a French fry omelet?
Yeah. Well, I just do so many egg dishes, and the dish I'm doing for Hawaii is an
Next
egg
time
dish.
we're drunk, you like to cook eggs
I
when
love
you're
to
drunk.
cook eggs, yeah. So, and I'm doing an egg dish for Hawaii.
That's fair.
But I will be making that at some point because French fry omelet.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Bro.
buddy. I'm there for that.
So, yeah. But I did want to do vegan for this area, but seafood's really common. You can use chicken or beef, but there's really no pork recipes, but I'm sure you could do it if you really wanted to. But spice, like Carrie said, is really important. Not like heat spice, but like peppercorns and cinnamon and things like that are used in a lot of their cooking. And coconut milk is also really common. I saw a chicken coconut curry that I thought about making. Ooh. But I am trying to make a couple of healthier choices because we ate like hot dogs like 4 times in the past however time what we were making. But on our trip to Colorado, my part of the deal was I cooked food for everyone because my parents rented the house, and so Colin and I's job was to help with like some dinners. And so I did make goulash one night.
Oh.
I made the tacos one night.
Yes.
I made the pasta dish that we did from Rome.
Yes.
See, this is so good though. Like, these are useful.
Yeah, so I made those dishes.
We can make them on our lake trip.
Yeah, that's why I said I'd do it, and they were a pretty big hit. The goulash was like, my mom was a big fan.
Oh,
And so...
Well, and Colin said that was still his favorite.
Yeah, and my dad, like, grew up in a very strict Catholic school in Pennsylvania, and they used to... That was, like, one of their, like, meals at school, like, the nuns would make, and so he had, like, fond memories, too.
I can make a sort of goulash. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So
I just remembered that I had potatoes at home.
Oh, man, I love potatoes. So, yeah. So that is our meal for today. It's very, like, summer appropriate, I feel like, even though it is kind of like, it's like a rice dish with, like, a very spicy rice dish. I can't. S's are hard for me today. But I felt it was very summer appropriate. Like, I even feel like you could eat this, like, room temperature for lunch, and it would be...
I mean, my 4th serving was at room temperature, so...
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I think it would carry very well to, like, pack away. But I enjoyed it. So that is our dish. We have a picture. I gave Mavis her medicine today, which makes her unbelievably needy, so she's in both pictures that I have of prep and of finished meal, just staring at me because she wants me to hold her constantly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's a needy little girl, but you can see her cute face, so.
And Ollie will probably be on the Insta too, because I took a cute little picture of her falling asleep under the table where we record.
And real quick, I did get to go to the Stanley Hotel when we were in Colorado, which is the inspiration for The Shining. Mm-hmm. And I think they even filmed some of the outside shots there. Also found out they filmed Dumb and Dumber there.
Yeah.
No idea. But I was like, what? So, first of all, absolutely stunning piece of property. Mm-hmm. Gorgeous hotel. I have a ton of pictures that we'll post on the Instagram. They have a resident psychic, which was my favorite thing. That she just, like, works there full time.
Did you talk with her?
No, she wasn't in because of COVID. So, like, they just opened up. So I went in, and Colin and I got to meet our friends, Lexi and Lily, who now live in Denver. But they came and stayed the night with us so that we could see them. Because we haven't seen them
Since Colin's birthday?
It was because Lily wasn't even there.
Oh, that's right.
Because they got engaged and then they moved right away, right before COVID, and then they've been in quarantine. Yeah. So like we went and we got to do that, and they had literally opened up the bar like the day before.
Wow.
And we went in, and I had a red rum punch, and I laughed about it the whole time. And there's like tunnels, and there's like scale models and stuff. It's really cool. So. We want to go like spend a night there.
Yes.
But it is so beautiful, and
we just have to road trip and stay in haunted places.
Yep. So that is that's where I was, and we'll post some pictures because it's pretty cool and definitely haunted.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Good shit. Mm-hmm. Talking about haunted shit. Just kidding. Not my job. We're going to
That's
talk
my
about
job.
history. I had no transition, so I went with it.
That's fine. You good.
Okay, so Zanzibar, there are over 50 islands in the Indian Ocean, and it's part of Tanzania in East Africa. And so kind of tying into what they're saying about the various cultures, it's a melting pot of various styles and cultures. There are Arabic roots, and it's apparent in the blend of the Swahili local tribal languages and Arabic in the architecture and the spices that still play a major part in the rich culture. So like Carrie was saying, all of the spices.
Mm-hmm. So many spices.
So many. So it was once a territory of the Omani Sultanate, during which time it was a trade and slave port. There are beautiful forests and beaches, but there are also like all of the spice plantations that you can just smell as you like go by. So, as I mentioned, there's the Arabic influence, especially in the architecture of the historic places like the Palace of Wonders and the culture of Stone Town, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So there's Arab, European, Asian, and African influences, and they're all there in the architecture. And it's really interesting because you can kind of compare the different influences from each culture, because they're like one building will be one way and then the next building next to it will be a different way. So it's really interesting to be able to see that visually. Like,
the pictures are really cool.
Yeah, the pictures, I mean, it looks pretty magical. Like it, the way,
Yes, the pictures are amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like white sand beaches.
And then that's
like
why we picked, that's why, I'm pretty sure I picked Zanzibar.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult for me to do research, which you will find out. But it was worth it just to look at the pretty pictures of the beaches.
Yeah.
It was so pretty.
I went down a rabbit hole and I got into a really dark place. So I'm apologizing in advance, but also pretty pictures.
Yeah, I kept going
beautiful.
like with the lore. There are so many different ways to go, and so it just
I think
mine's
there was
probably
enough
a hot
lore.
mess.
There was enough lore, right?
Kind of. It mainly fell into mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
So
you're
I
gonna
kept
get to
like
hear me
going
talk
down
a lot
the
today.
side tunnel, and then I was like, "Nope,
Got
bitch,
it.
go way the fuck
Bring it
back!"
back.
Like 5 articles later. So we'll see.
So you're gonna get a lot of information today.
Yeah, maybe quickly because I'm
we're
talking
just,
fast and it
listening.
started late. So
Oh yeah.
And we're just listening, like
Yeah.
respectable adults.
Let's
Instead
continue
of
to
drunken
listen
adults.
like respectable.
Boo! Where's the
Jokes.
comedy in that?
Fucking lame. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so the history of Zanzibar potentially goes back as far as prehistoric times, according to stone tools that were excavated from the Kumbi cave in 2005.
Cool.
But yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Thought that the first permanent residents were members of the Bantu ethnic groups who crossed from the East African mainland around 1000 AD. But traders from Asia may also have been visiting for 900 years prior to the settlers.
Oh.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool. And Persian traders built settlements in Zanzibar around the 8th century, and they grew into trading posts over 4 centuries. So that's where the
old city.
it really
Yeah.
is.
It
And
is
that's
an old
that's
city.
where that like trade slave port comes
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
later.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it really gained notice as a colonial site and major trade port, like I said, around the 13th to 14th centuries. And before it fell under the Omani Sultanate, he used this area to trade slaves. There were like over 50,000 sold through the market every year. They sold ivory and spices, and they also enslaved the native people and forced them to man the plantation. So it wasn't just like importing and exporting, it was like using the people there.
We'll talk a little bit about slaves in mine.
Oh, we talk a lot about slaves in mine, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Slave
any
trade
major,
was a big deal.
Oh,
yeah. Any
huge.
major port
Yeah.
is going to have a very dark history of the slave trade.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the British
Black
peeps
Lives
come
Matter.
in clutch later. It's okay.
Kind of.
Ish.
Well, wasn't Germany the country that colonized?
Yes.
Okay.
But Britain very quickly took over.
Yeah.
Shocking.
The island of Unguja, it's part of Zanzibar, was a part of the Portuguese Empire from the early 16th century through the late 17th century. And the Sultan Said? I don't know.
Yes.
Said.
It's spelled
It's-
2 different ways, so I'm not entirely sure. I think it's Said, something like that. But he made Stone Town, that I talked about earlier, and that was the capital of Oman. But after he died, Oman and Zanzibar became separate principalities, and they were each ruled by one of his sons.
That never works.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure these may be the guys in one of my stories later that, like, the brother tried to kill the other one and take over, and then he got, like, banished to India or some shit.
Sounds about right.
It could be a different, like...
If you're royal and you have a brother, one of you is going to kill the other one.
Hey, even if it's your cousin, because we'll talk about cousins in mine just a little bit.
Man.
But following the rule of the Sultanate, the islands were run by the British Commonwealth from 1890. And side note, interestingly, the British took such an interest in Zanzibar due largely to their desire to end the slave trade globally.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I said they kind of come in clutch-ish.
Okay.
But there's other fuckery, too.
Oh, yeah.
So the slave trade was actually abolished in Zanzibar in 1876.
Do you mind?
Sorry, I'm laughing at Olive.
She just took the most difficult way to pass
You know.
possible.
Yep. Well, I saw her reaching, because Catherine has a box next to her, but it's probably a solid 1.5 feet from the table. And she just, like, went for it and was straddling from the box to the table.
Ali. A silly girl.
She's the smart one, though. We like her.
I love them both, but Ali's so chill. She lets me pet her.
She is very chill cat. Nothing phases her.
She's the sweetest. Okay, sorry.
I get distracted by cats here.
Zanzibar was granted independence as a constitutional monarchy in 1963 until the Zanzibar Revolution established it as an independent republic not long after that. But during that revolution... Did I fuck up the way I said that? Cause my
No, you're fine. You're fine. Sorry, y'all, I made a face.
I probably messed up how I said that because I was like, it's 12 o'clock. I'm falling asleep as I type this. During the revolution, up to 12,000 Indian and Arabic citizens were murdered as retribution for years upon years of slavery.
How are we messing up our words worse today than we normally are?
Because we're sober. I'm always better when I'm drunk, folks.
This is rough.
It makes me relax because my anxiety is so high.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I sit here under my alpaca blanket, like twiddling my thumbs.
I know, I forgot my worry stone at home.
Anxiously waiting for...
The anxiety's real here, folks.
I should get my anxiety crystals out. I keep them in my school bag so kids, when they're stressed out, can play with them. They're pretty.
We need to have a podcast room set of anxiety crystals just to, like, have around us.
We have a sensory corner in our podcast room. Me too.
Yeah, so when I worked at my job before the one that I'm at, we actually had boxes that we had to check out for a sensory corner for kids that were misbehaving. But I teach choir, so that didn't really work. Proceed.
Oh, yeah. So we talked about how they were culturally diverse.
Way to bring it full circle.
And like I said, it was taught in the language. It was polyglot.
What was that?
Polyglot.
Okay.
That's what it is. It's polyglot. So use or combination of multiple languages. So yeah, but also the food, architecture, blah blah blah. I'm just fucking lost. Okay, Zanzibar has an international film festival in July. I'm just shooting off lists of things you can check out if you ever go.
Not during COVID.
Yeah. Prison Island is a former prison.
Ooh.
Former prison for slaves in a quarantine station.
They're safe.
Yeah, I know. I laughed. I had to put that in here. There's this place called, I'm gonna fuck this up. Baitel Sahel. I'm sorry. Baitel Sahel? I don't fucking know. It's a palace museum reconstruction of Sultan Said's
I talk about that.
In 1800s.
I'll talk about it in
I
mine.
won't talk about it anymore. That's it.
Okay, no, I just meant I'll end up...
like, literally the only thing.
Talk about
I'll end up pronouncing it, because I'm not looking at it right now, therefore I don't know what you're saying.
There's also the Persian-style Hammamni baths in the middle of Stone Town, built toward the end of the 1800s.
I am a big fan.
We'll talk about that one,
baths.
too.
I just
you're fine.
list shit off. I ain't talking about it. There's the Tipu Tip. Just the tip. The Tipu Tip house. Hints at Zanzibar's fucking A. The word is dark. It's a 4-letter word and it's not even hard.
Go take a swig of my bathtub gin.
I've got it right here. Okay. Dark passed as a slave trading post. This house was built for Hamad bin Muhammad el Marjab, an infamous ivory and slave trader. And then you can also visit the Jozani Forest. I stuttered so hard. Forest to see a rare species of monkeys found only in Zanzibar.
Oh, cool.
The red colobus monkey, colobus, I don't know. They're said to be full of character and roam freely.
Aww. That's
I
cute.
love monkeys. I know, and
I
they're
wanna see
only
monkeys.
Zanzibar. Yeah, there's some monkeys.
Yeah.
Okay. My sister sent me a TikTok once of an itty bitty cute little monkey in a little
Aw.
jacket with a little baby backpack.
Baby.
It was tiny and it jumped up into the car. It was so cute.
Hey, since we're talking about TikTok, y'all, if you have TikTok, delete it now.
I refuse to get it.
Yeah, I have never gotten it because I didn't trust it when it first came out because, y'all, it is basically malware.
Oh.
Thinly disguised as social media. If you have a TikTok, delete it immediately. It is tracking everything on your phone. If you try to turn it off, it will get sneaky and work around what you just turned off.
Oh my god, it's Big Brother. Like everything you just said.
But
Big
it's run by
Brother.
China.
Oh,
Do you
fuck.
really want China to have all of your information? It can literally
Yep.
track everything you have on your phone, how many messages you have, how much data you still have on your phone. If you use an SD
I don't
card.
even know how much data I still have on my phone.
Oh yeah, they are tracking all of that shit. Delete TikTok now. Okay, I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of kickback from that for
Fuck
being
it.
crazy.
That was a helpful PSA,
But
folks.
as a teacher, I always tell my kids to delete it. They laugh at me, and I'm like, okay, well, China's tracking you right now, so
Yeah, you're not gonna think it's so funny when they've hacked all your fucking bank accounts.
right. Well, they're also middle schoolers, so they may not have bank accounts.
Your parents' bank accounts, then they real gonna be pissed.
Yep.
Okay. Lore. So
What was that?
fuck, folks. I am too sober. I'm trying so hard. Legend says, I'm gonna have to talk real slow. Shit. Sinbad the sailor from 1001 Arabian Nights docked his ship in Zanzibar.
Oh, really?
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Wasn't there like a weird animated movie made about Sinbad?
I think so.
Mhm.
I think it was called Sinbad or some shit like
I only
that.
remember there was a funny nipple joke when he like turned around. He's like, "Whoa, you're gonna poke someone's eye out with that thing," and then my mom just lost it.
Okay, so I feel like most of my lore is about this lady, and I kind of love her, and she reps. Okay, so I don't know if it's bi or B. It means lady. She was a badass, like, princess kind of chick, but not. It's just B-I.
I'd probably just say bye.
Yeah, that's what I said. Okay, by Cole. So the ruins of her mansion are made of coral, or the mansion made of coral rock near the village of Bungi, I don't know, down a path off of the main road. It's somewhat obscured by mango trees lining each side of the road near the sea.
Mangoes!
Wait for it.
My
There are
fave.
interesting stories about those mango trees.
Ooh,
Okay.
I love a good mango.
So Cole, me too.
I have some in the fridge.
Me liking the mangoes.
Yummy.
So Cole was a quote-unquote rebel princess because, so she does come from royalty, but like they're not ruling, and anyway. So she ran her own clove business and never had a husband or children. She's a boss-ass bitch.
Rebel.
Yeah, especially during this time. I
Yeah.
mean, that's why there are so many rumors surrounding her, because they're like, oh no, women can't run shit. She must be a seductress. Fuck you. Anyway, we'll get to that later.
I might be.
Well, they say that too. So, I will get to all of the things, because I'm going to be on my soapbox, okay? So,
Get on your soapbox as someone who was called a lesbian all growing up because I had
same.
short hair.
I'm still called a lesbian by half my family. It's fine.
Yeah, me too.
It's fine. And you're married.
I
to
know,
a man.
But I guess my sexuality technically, just because I'm married to a man, but
Yeah. No, true.
But Grace literally thought I was strictly a lesbian until, I don't know, like she was in high school and she was like, wait, you're not a lesbian? I was like, not exclusively, Grace. She's like, are you serious? I was like, she's like, whoa, that's my sister for you.
I feel like she doesn't pick up on a lot.
Apparently not.
She also thinks I'm a raging alcoholic, but that's just because I drink socially when I'm
She's
around
just
her.
judgy.
She is. Come on, Grace.
She's not going to listen to this, I bet, so it's fine.
Prob's not.
My mom will laugh and tell her.
Tell your daughter not to be so judgy.
So, Cole's father, he was then the Sultan of Zanzibar, owned a lot of fertile land on which she grew cloves to export. But when her father died, she took over the family business and took her inherited land, to live the life she chose. As a woman at this time, she didn't necessarily have a lot of options or autonomy outside of this.
Sure.
Even this was frowned upon and led to nasty rumors because, you know, heaven forbid a woman do anything outside of their proper place in the home. If you can't tell, I baby barfed in my mouth a little on that one.
She's trying to grow some cloves, man.
I'm saying. Okay, so I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a housewife or a mother or
there's
stay-at-home
not.
mom.
That's what you choose.
Yeah, if you choose that. But also you are not limited to those roles.
Right.
So that's my biggest issue. And also women are just as capable as men, so fuck off. I know there are certain physical restrictions in some
Well, our vaginas
things,
can stretch
but-
large enough to deliver a baby, so...
Yeah.
Fight me.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway. At the age of 20, she was running her own plantation and household like a boss.
That's right.
She did have over 150 people under her charge to help her handle business and household affairs.
So that means slaves.
Oh, no, yeah, that's the next thing.
Yeah. So she really wasn't doing it on her
Well, that's why I said, but...
Yikes. So...
Well, some of them were slaves, and some of them were slaves by another name, aka indentured servants.
Oh. Okay.
So... She really wasn't doing stuff on her own.
Well, that was my next note.
Okay.
Yeah.
Management.
I heavy-handedly said on her home.
Yeah.
Okay. She was a huntress and a woman of leisure.
Ooh.
It said that she would lounge in her 7-room mansion with her neighbors, who were mostly female, to gossip, braid each other's hair, and weave mats. So,
That's gonna be
a
us.
sleepover.
Yeah.
It's us.
Yeah. That's def a sleepover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I was like, it's always a sleepover.
They giggle about boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe girls in her case.
Mhm. Both.
No judgment.
I mean, her name was By Cole, so. Sorry, not sorry. So she would also.
Somewhere. She likes that joke.
She's dead.
I said somewhere. I didn't specify where, Bree.
Save a seat next to me down below. Okay. She would also hunt on her grounds for flying foxes. No.
Why?
Leave the baby foxes alone.
Why?
I love foxes.
Oh my god!
And small antelope. I know. I know.
Why did I have to specify that they were small?
I know. Spelled S-M-O-L.
Small. They're small.
They're small.
Small lopes.
So she. That's what I got. Small lopes.
Harry and I have large lopes.
I know. I'm aware.
And back pain.
Okay, so she died at the age of 57. There are lots of rumors surrounding her life even now. Legend goes that each of the mango trees lining the drive to her mansion, and there are over 120 both sides, was the head of a lover whom she'd lured into her bed before decapitating them and making her slaves bury their heads along the road with mangoes. So she's kind of like a praying mantis.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a lot of lovers, though. That's a lot of beheading.
I mean, get it, but don't kill them.
But, like, what is the age of the mango? Are those mango trees, like, different ages? Or did she theoretically kill all 150 lovers within a week?
It's
like,
lore. No one believes it. This is where they come in and they're like, she may have been a lesbian. Because she wore trousers and she took after...
no!
I know. And she took after her aunt, who also wore trousers and was like a lesbian and shit. But I don't know if they were ever actually proven to be lesbians, and if they were, so the fuck what?
Aw, it's nice she had a role model.
I know.
That's important growing up
Yep.
as a member of the LGBT community. Nice.
So-
Support your friends
It was
and family.
Yes. It was not proven either way, though, with either of them. But,
That's fine.
yeah, rumors.
Her
So,
aunt were
it's
friends.
meant to portray her as a promiscuous woman to undermine her accomplishments.
Oh, sure.
What the fuck was
Yeah.
that word?
You're
Accomplishments.
struggling. It's
As a
rough.
single,
Drink more gin.
unmarried woman who ran a successful plantation on her own with the help of slaves and indentured servants. But literally in parentheses in my notes.
Yeah.
So, the trees were actually planted by a trained Turkish botanist.
Ooh.
Yeah. Another bit of lore around Bicol was that she stayed single due to quote-unquote interference from the spirit world.
Cool.
So
And there are lots of spirits.
If my mother heard this, she'd start contacting the nearest spiritualist to quote-unquote fix me.
Mm.
So
Maybe that's why you're not married, Brie.
fucking spirits, man. No, seriously. I want to get
She just glared.
look, I don't really give a shit about getting married, like, not yet anyway. I'm like, one way or the other. I just want to find a person. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, the goal isn't marriage, it's like a person.
I know, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity.
I know. Well, I'm gonna get a shirt because my family's always like, oh, blah, 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 single, never gonna have children. I'm like, maybe not, but I'm gonna get the shirt that says, nope, still not married, and wear it to every family gathering ever.
You can just be our spare tire.
I forget that I'm married. So.
Well, because
I've been married officially a month
I don't
today.
want to be a donut.
Officially a month today.
Aww.
And I don't remember that we're married half the time. Our
fair.
joke used to be like, hey, we should get married. That was like our joke during the engagement. And I still say it all the time. He's like, yeah, we are. Oh my god, this joke. Is it funnier now? Does it not make sense anymore? It's very confusing.
Yeah. It still feels weird to not live at my parents' house. And I'm just like, wait a minute, this is my apartment. I live here with my husband. Husband, that's a weird word.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know any of these struggles, so. Now we're going to talk about gin.
Woo!
Not the G gin, the J gin.
June. That's funny, though, because we had
I know.
surprise gin.
See, I'm occasionally funny.
See, and when so I had to read Bree's notes earlier because our topics overlap greatly. And I saw that and I was like, I'm seizing this opportunity.
Yeah.
So we got gin and gin today.
Yeah. Occasionally spelled with a D, like Dijon.
Yeah.
Not like Dijon, but like
Dijon mustard.
Well,
that.
in the International Phonetic Alphabet, J is DJ. J? J?
Mm-hmm.
J? Yeah.
Yeah. Also occasionally referred to as Ginny or Genie.
Ah.
Like, I dream a genie.
Hmm.
I did the shimmy with the handshake. Yeah.
Vegan.
Yeah, shut up. So, gin are mentioned in the Quran.
Oh! Sorry, I'm dripping
She
water on
spilled
myself.
her gin!
No, I wasn't even drinking.
Not
I just
the
picked
gin.
it up.
I know. Okay.
It's condensating on me.
It's because it's so cold in here and so humid
That's
outside.
what she said.
It's so cold in here.
No, it's
You
condensating
frigid
on me.
bitch.
Hey, I have never been called frigid. That is one thing I have never been accused of.
It's cold in here.
Must be some photos in this atmosphere. Okay. I. The mention in the Quran, the creation of Allah, neither human nor angel, they're thought to invade humans, and you exorcise them, not like exercise like I work out, but like exorcise,
Demons?
like Catholics do. Yes, or did whatever special rules.
They
and
still can, but it has to
dispensation,
be sanctioned by the
approval
Pope.
from the Pope. Yeah, I had that in there. I was like, it's one of these things, like special dispensation, approval from the Pope.
Yeah, because it's really dangerous, and so that it has to be sanctioned by the Pope so that no one is endangered.
liable.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. I have more on this.
Because you have to test for certain mental illnesses and
Yeah.
physical illnesses and
Thank
things
goodness,
beforehand.
though.
Now,
Yeah.
that was not the case for a long time.
No.
But now that we have an understanding of science, that is, there's always, those have to take precedent
Yes.
before you can do an exorcism.
Yes.
Yep.
I actually found this really good article on National Geographic about this. I think it was a student getting their doctorate. I don't know. But they were in Zanzibar and they met a witch doctor.
Cool.
We talk about them.
I don't talk anymore about him
Okay.
except for what he says about the gin. So yeah, he was telling him about the gin, and this guy went talking about like some completely other story, and then he's like, I don't remember what it was anymore. I think it was the slave trade, and he was like, bitch, gin? I'm hopping on that train. Like, I'm gonna pick that up. So
I love academics.
Ginny are a big problem in Zanzibar, and people call witch doctors to deal with them.
Sure.
What is it? So they can be male or female and live for
Who you
1,000
gonna call?
years.
Witch
Ghost
doctors.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was drinking and couldn't participate in that.
It's witch doctors.
They can live for 1,000
dream
years,
job.
and I guess they're real ugly. So Allah made them invisible most of the time.
Oh,
They
good.
can take on many forms, and they can possess people or animals.
I did not know that jinn was
Interesting.
in the Quran.
I didn't know they could possess animals.
Yeah. So they actually have their own cities in the forest and under the sea. Now, guys, remember, this is lore, and this is just one witch doctor story of what a genie is.
Okay,
But
so
anyway.
this is an interpretation, not the religious text. version.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So, from what I can tell, it is in the Quran,
Okay.
and they're not human or angels, and Allah did create them.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's kind
But
of...
this is the interpretation
Yes.
of someone who deals with it.
Yes.
Okay.
So they have their own cities in the forest and under the sea, and some even live in filthy places like the toilet.
Oh.
Moaning Mantle!
Moaning Metal, she was a genie! Okay.
And Gods also has a whole Jinn story.
Yes.
Yeah.
The coming
Yes.
to America parts, yeah.
Mhm. So apparently that's why they enter the bathroom with their left foot and exit with the right while reciting dua, which are prayers from the Quran. But I guess most Jinni like to be alone in old places.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair.
So they love Pemba Island, which is part of Zanzibar, because all the ruins and the temples and the forts that no one ever goes to.
Mm.
And let's see, in the time of the prophet Suleiman bin Dawood, King Solomon, Pemba had the central prison for all Jinni, and a lot of them still stay there in the ruins.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was so interesting. There's a ton more. I will put the article on the blog, the link to the article on the blog. Check it out because it's so freaking interesting. But now we talk about the Popumbawa.
So I have a little bit more information.
Okay.
And I'm gonna segue into it toward the end of mine. But yeah, Popo and Bawa, be ready, y'all. Okay, so. Oh, sorry. Was that?
Am I not doing a little bit of my Popumbawa?
I have more on it, but it segues after. other
Okay.
things.
Okay. So I'll wait until go.
Okay.
We're good.
So, we're going to talk a little bit about Stone Town, and that's mainly because that's where a lot of spirits are found. Now, I do not have specific examples of these spirits. It's more general, but I'll give you a
Well,
little...
if there's enough in an area of a people who believe that they're there, then
Right.
it's going to be kind of generic because
Oh, yeah.
it's frequent. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and I
Commonplace, yeah.
went down rabbit holes with this because this place is so cool. So, as Bree mentioned, Stone Town is a UNESCO heritage site that exemplifies a Swahili trading town. Major buildings are from the 18th and 19th centuries. I'm not going to go through all of the ones that she went through, but House of Wonders, the People's Palace, the Persian Baths, slave markets, the Christ Church Anglican Cathedral that commemorated the work of David Livingstone in abolishing the slave trade and built on the site of the last slave market is there. So that's a fun little nugget. But that's just a few. I deleted even more from my notes just because I wasn't going to talk about them. But it's a really cool, smallish town. I mean, it's pretty walkable.
Yeah, and they say you can just go down these maze-like alleys. And
Oh,
just,
yeah.
Yeah, the streets are all over the place.
and the
but they're
bazaars.
so beautiful.
Yeah. So one of the major parts of Stone Town is the House of Wonders, also known as Beit al-Ajab, which was built in 1883 by Sultan Bargash bin Said, the second Sultan of Zanzibar, and it was a ceremonial palace. Fun fact, Sultan Bargash made the doorway extra wide so he could ride in on his elephant.
He was the guy that tried to kill his brother to take over the Sultanate.
Really?
Yes.
But he's
Fascinating.
an elephant.
Yeah, and he built this palace so he could ride into
That
his
he
palace.
cruelly rode into his palace.
Okay, but if I was Sultan,
I understand. I know. Same Z's.
yeah. So it's known as the House of Wonders because it was the first building in Zanzibar to have electricity and the first building in East Africa to have an elevator.
Oh,
Yeah. So
interesting.
it's now open to the public, but it did have renovations in 2018, so I don't know if it's actively open, but it was reopened to the public. A few items that are housed in the House of Wonders are David Livingstone's medicine chest. And so he was a Scottish missionary and explored Africa. Yes, the Scots.
Yay.
A Christmas-themed kanga, which is called pindo in Swahili, but it's a cotton garment primarily worn by women, but occasionally by men in the African Great Lakes region. It's kind of like a wrap. And so they all have a border on them, and they're typically themed, whether it just be plain or, you know, they have...
I want themed wraps for holidays and shit.
Oh, yeah. Like, they're beautiful.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so it features a Christmas-themed one in the House of Wonders. A centuries-old charm that reportedly contains the nose of a dog.
Oh. Why do that?
So I was like, okay, cool charm, but nose of dog. Fascinating.
It's like when they keep, like, the saints, whatchamacalls,
relics.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was called. I was having a brain fart.
Yeah, it's okay.
The inner courtyard houses a huge Swahili sailing vessel.
Oh,
So it
cool.
has a full-on ship in the inner courtyard.
Dude, that's so cool.
That's really cool.
And an old car that belonged to Zanzibar's first president.
Huh.
So, fun fact, Zanzibar has its own president in addition to the Tanzanian president because Zanzibar
I was reading
is...
that, and it was like run by a chief because I have something before there was a president.
Yep.
But still, they're part
Of Tanzania.
of Tanzania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are semi-autonomous, and they do have both the Zanzibar president and the Tanzanian president. So there's a little fun nugget for you.
Interesting.
So moving to another portion of Stone Town, the People's Palace. It was originally called the Sultan's Palace and was built in 1828 by Sultan Syed Said. And it was comprised of several buildings along the waterfront, one of which was a harem called Beit el Hukum.
Was he the one who had like 50 harem members and like 36 kids and all this shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too many kids. I don't care how many mamas you have. That's still too many kids.
Yeah.
How do you remember all their names? I bet he did.
You don't. You number those fuckers.
M1, M2, M3. You're done. N1, N2, N3. Okay. O1, O2. Just go down the alphabet. I don't know why I started M. Actually, no, I do. It's because there's a family that I know that has 5 daughters that all start with M.
That's rough, man.
Yeah. There's also a family that I know that has 5 kids that all start with B. So,
yeah.
Well, my sister, my biological sister, and my stepsister and I all start with B. So.
My brother and I both start with C. Yeah, it's a thing.
5 sisters, though. Like, you would take up stock in Tampax.
Yeah, that's a lot. There might only be 4 of the M names. I don't remember. There's a lot of them. Anyway, but Sultan Syed built Yeah, it is. His palace housed the Persian baths that he built to please his favorite wife. Damn. So I know. I'm like,
you good? You the
I
favorite out of 50?
I know. I want to be the favorite wife, so I can get some Persian baths up in here.
Right?
Yeah.
There was also the Sultan's Ice Factory, which I thought was interesting.
It's so hot.
Yeah, the Royal Guard Troops building, and the Royal Stables, where they kept purebred Arab horses. Now, I'm a horse girl. I love horses. I rodeoed when I was young. Oh, for my bachelorette party, we went horseback riding because
I'm so jealous.
In Colorado, and it was the best thing ever. And I got sunburned because I sunburned just looking outside.
My hat and my long cape was prepared for the sun.
Was it your big sun hat?
No, it's my littler sun hat that I got in Ecuador.
You know you're pale, and I'm saying this because I am also pale. When you have multiple sun hats. Dude, I have like 5 sun hats.
I just embraced the sunburn.
I have, like, no matter how much sunscreen I put on, and it's not even like sunburn bothers me, but I peel, and it's just bad for my skin. I can't do that. Like, that's dangerous.
You should see the perfect outline of the bows on my bikini on my back right now. That is itching my choco tan horribly.
Scratch my peeling arms. Like, I don't know.
Fortunately, I am not sunburned right now. However, I do have a picture from a couple years ago that I kept showing people when I was actively volunteering back in early June. Because I was like, y'all don't get it. I sunburn. And they're like,
I never do.
Oh. And then I showed them the picture and they're like, oh, you sunburn. Yes, I sunburn.
I have lines, distinct lines on my shins from my leggings.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh.
I'm going to pause this.
Yep. You can see it.
Uh-huh. Those are tan lines.
Ridiculous.
Look at this.
Not tan lines. They're burn lines. They
Burn
will
lines.
never tan.
Oh yeah, Catherine has them on her shins. That's rough. Okay,
Look at that. That is
so
a distinct line.
so.
Sorry.
The palace was built to be self-contained away from the city, and remnants of the raised walkways are still seen today.
Cool.
So north of the palace is the Makasurani, or the Old Royal Cemetery. If I mispronounced that, I'm sorry.
I love cemeteries.
I love
But
cemeteries too.
That's where most of the sultans were buried.
How we
Cool.
became friends.
Want to go hang out in the cemetery?
Heyo. After the revolution of 1964, the remaining portion of the Sultan's palace was renamed the People's Palace and now serves as the Palace Museum and houses some government offices.
Cool.
So, Stone Town is the location of the shortest war in history.
Interesting.
Sorry, Bree, this is where I start stepping on your toes.
Okay.
But this was too good to not put in here, and it was featured in a lot of the articles that I read about both the House of Wonders and the People's Palace. So, it was during 1896 and only lasted 38 minutes. The British launched a naval bombardment on Stone Town when the ruling sultan at the time passed away and his cousin, Khalid bin Barhash, seized the throne.
I literally have had a fight, like a verbal argument with someone that lasted longer than 38 minutes.
It's because you're Italian.
And so most of Sultan's Palace was destroyed. Only the House of Wonders, the Arab Fort, and the Grand Hotel survived. But eventually it was rebuilt on a smaller scale. So everything that's currently standing is smaller than the original.
Okay.
So you destroyed... Oh, this is what pisses me off about war. I mean, also, like, the loss of human life and shit,
Yeah.
but you're killing history!
We talked about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
You're
We
kind
talked
of
about
making
Berlin.
it, too,
Oh, yeah.
but... Okay.
Well, and the British was... they literally destroyed it because that was their favorite sultan.
You fucking toddlers throwing your damn tantrums. Grow the fuck up. You're grown men. For
That's
fuck's
why I
sake.
was like, the
They're men,
Brits
so they
aren't...
had to have
That's
a temper
fair.
tantrum.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
But yeah, that's why I was like, the Brits did not do things
They were
right.
probably almost exclusively men at that time, which
Yeah.
explains this
Mm-hmm.
whole
Yes.
scenario. Yeah.
Because women would have done it better. Suck it, bitches.
Right.
Yeah.
So the House of Wonders did
Taken
receive...
37 minutes and we would have...
Damn.
And we wouldn't have destroyed everything.
Ah. But it's the truth.
So...
Just go.
The House of Wonders did receive some damage, but it wasn't significant, and so the Sultan still used it as his palace until 1990, when it did finally start to crumble.
Yeah.
So, on to the spooky things.
Spooky.
So, speaking of Berlin, the ladies in white occur in many cultures. However, in Zanzibar, we have the ladies in black.
Oh, yeah.
And they
queens.
appear in their flowing Islamic attire.
Ooh.
Cool.
One story is that a builder was going to a spring to get water to mix cement when he saw a woman washing her clothes. He greeted her. She ignored him. Good on you.
Same.
So, so
How do we know
he.
she's a ghost? Maybe she's just like
Antisocial like us.
She's just like,
Well-
don't talk to me.
Give me a second. I'm only halfway through that sentence. So he got closer to her and realized that she was not washing clothes, but she was in fact a shaitani. I will cover that word in a hot minute. She hissed at him, showing her...
Same.
She's our friend.
I hiss at people all the time. Is that not an appropriate means of like
Does that mean
communication?
We are also spirit devil things.
I am.
Oh, yes.
Fuck yeah. Shit.
She hissed at him, showing, quote, her face a mask of fury and evil. Now, that's my face normally,
Same.
because I have RBF real bad. And so as he tried to escape, she sucked out most of his energy.
Gee, she sucked his cheese. June sucked that.
The man staggered away, claiming to feel weak for months after the incident. Another lady in black
That's how I
haunts...
leave him too.
Girl, I still have a lot to get through.
Stop.
Another black lady haunts the Stone Town High Court. The Nanzi no. Okay, so Swahili has a lot of consonants together, and
yeah.
we are not a culture that does that very well. So, okay, let me try this again. Nanzi Noja Hospital.
That was good.
Thank you. And Victoria Park. She hasn't threatened anyone, but she flees when shown the cross.
How is this happening?
Because we're so
Oh my gosh, our vegan rice has really made us lit.
That's really made us.
Rice too lit. Over rice.
Chicken over ice.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Over mice.
Okay.
Anyway, she flees when shown the cross or hears verses from the Quran. I'm gonna stop this so we can stop laughing.
Wait, so that's 2 religions.
Right. So 5 miles south of Stonetown is the Mbweni ruins. There was 3 consonants in a row for y'all. Mbweni. Which houses the ruins of St. Mary's School for Girls, educating... hang on. It's not as...
Ruins of a girls' school makes me nervous.
Especially when it's
Don't be
called
nervous.
something school for girls.
Yeah.
It's always bad nun type shit.
Don't be nervous.
Okay.
Shut up and let me talk. Okay. It educated both local girls and freed slave girls who were able to live on the property. Caroline Thackeray, who is cousin of English novelist William Makepeace Thackeray, fun fact, was headmistress at St. Mary's for 25 years. And Miss Thackeray is seen walking across the open windows and down the school's corridors. And so she's just there monitoring her property. She wants to make sure everything's still okay.
McGonagall.
Yeah.
When she dies, just being like, you're not doing that right. You're
Oh
not
my
doing
God,
that right.
McGonagall as
Why
a ghost.
is it always you 3? Okay.
Great?
That would be us.
All the shade. All the shade.
But it also helps that Miss Thackeray is buried in the nearby church's graveyard. So
Aw.
her body is there, so she just gets to watch over where...
kids, yeah.
And as a teacher, I would also probably want to watch over some of my kids to make sure that they weren't messing
I'll be
with things.
yelling, point your toes, do it again, relax your face muscles, just like all sorts of random stuff that I yell a lot.
Yeah. Drop your jaw! That aw's not good enough!
More consonants!
I can't understand you! Relax the jaw!
Yep.
You look like you want to murder someone! Look happier when you're singing!
Lift your soft palate and smile with your eyes.
Smize!
Don't touch props that aren't yours!
And all that will end with COVID. Okay, so Dunga Palace was home to the first rulers of Zanzibar and is located about 18.5 kilometers east of Zanzibar. It's believed that the rulers threw their slaves down the nearby well.
Why?
So obviously that place is haunted.
No shit, but why would they do that? It's like, if they stepped out of line, quote unquote, because fuck you.
Yeah, basically.
Ugh.
Ugh, wretched people.
But fun fact, it's believed by many treasure hunters that there is a buried treasure among the ruins.
Let me just go dig through these bones for some treasure, folks.
Well, I watched a YouTube video of this guy who's been doing it for 4 years and has found nothing. So,
You fail.
sorry.
You fail.
Okay, this one made me giggle, and it's my last little one before we get into the hot and heavy ghosties. So there's a phenomenon that happens on the main island of Tanzania in the village of Malita, which I know it's a stretch, but Tanzania, it's close enough. 1,000 kilometers. What's...
Mine's way farther.
Oh, yeah. But I thought it was too cool to not get a shout out. Ghost tractors.
That's the most Iowa shit I've ever heard in my fucking life.
What are they doing in Tanzania? Just a bunch of Iowans just going down to Tanzania.
Plantations.
But they're helping them grow their crops.
No, they're kidnapping people.
The tractor?
The tractors are kidnapping people.
Like a John Deere.
Dead ass, the most Iowan
Tractor?
thing I have ever heard in my life.
They
Yeah.
didn't have tractors during the slave trade?
So, but there are phantom flying tractors that have been reported to
Flying
kidnap.
tractors. This is some Harry Potter shit.
What is...
Where is Arthur Weasley? Damn it.
Arthur.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Great.
So, like I said, too good to not
They
at least
escaped
put in a
from
little bit.
the magical artifacts.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Magic.
It's really good.
Yeah. So,
Just floating John Deere tractors. They, like, turn on their headlights and they're like, hey, you! come here, and they like chase them.
It reminds me of the little vampire. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
It reminds me of that.
That's so, or like Herbie.
Aww. Okay, yeah, so on to the actual spirits. So, most of the ghosts aren't specific to Stonetown, as I said earlier, but they do heavily appear in Stonetown because it's old.
It's a happening place.
It's all the gin.
Yeah.
Both
So,
kinds of gin.
these spirits, heyo, are known as Shaitani. So, I mentioned Shaitani earlier, and it literally means devil or demon in Swahili.
Okay.
And they're the spirits that inhabit Zanzibar.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I tried to focus my search on Stonetown, but they're too generic and it
Sure.
wasn't really lucrative. It doesn't help that the Shaitani predate foreign powers who inhabited the island and set up slave trade and caused destruction and diminished their strong rulers into puppets.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that stuff. Through centuries of foreign rule, the Swahili inhabitants of Zanzibar had their own ruler called the Mwinyi. Okay, Mwinyi, Mwinyi Mkuu, or Great Lord.
Okay.
Luckily, that's the only time you have to suffer through me saying that.
Sure.
But they held an uneasy truce between the Swahili people and foreign invaders of the time, and was the spiritual leader for the island. Of course, that was granted. They did not words. Wow, that was bad.
It makes us more relatable and interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're so interesting with our messed up words. Me too.
Okay, let's start that over. Provided that they did not interfere with the government.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They were predominantly Islamic leaders, but were given their powers due to their ability to control the Shaitani and foresee the future.
Oh, cool.
So Zanzibar has been known for centuries to be a center of black magic. They attract witch doctors and those who wish to study the deepest mysteries of voodoo.
Me
Yes.
too.
There is a cult of the
So is it voodoo that they practice there, or is it another brand that gets looped in with voodoo?
looped in.
Yeah.
So,
Because I know each like Afro-Caribbean island has their own form of
Right.
voodoo, and there's like Santeria and all sorts of stuff.
right. So, there's a cult of the Shaitani that is about 80,000 strong.
Cool.
And it's,
I would argue that's not a cult anymore. That's a religion.
Right.
80,000. That's a significant amount.
right. But it's more of a benign, we just believe it kind
Yeah.
of deal. The islanders believe that Shaitani are malevolent spirits who watch and wait. And they depict many forms, including a haunched, hideous, twisted old woman, a beautiful Arabic woman, a man-dog hybrid, tall, handsome white men, or even a young
devil.
girl.
They are the devil.
Or even a young girl with the legs of a donkey.
Aw.
They also appear as shadow people.
Nope.
One Zanzibari native clearly saw a shadowy, immensely tall Shaitani standing in the doorway of his bedroom.
No.
He felt gripped and was unable to move or shout for help. He was only freed when he managed to recite some verses from the Quran. Then he began to shout for help from his neighbor. The
So
Shaitani...
if we go visit, we're gonna have to memorize a couple of verses from the Quran.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm down. I have a Quran
Yeah.
from
I
my
have
Middle Eastern
another-
Women's Studies.
I have another way. Just... Ooh,
Also,
ooh,
I would
here,
like to
my sock.
note that this is one of the side tunnels that I took because I
Oh, yeah.
literally read this article.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was so good.
I know!
Well, okay,
And
they
then I was
talk about,
I
like-
can't even fucking use this shit.
Yeah. But, like, Zanzibar has an energy ration that they mentioned in this article, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so the Shaitani waited until the local and his neighbor were safely locked in their respective rooms before he came back to paralyze them one more time,
Yep.
and then left.
Yep.
And just, like, was like, okay, you're scared, bye.
Yeah. He's
Well-
like, I'm here to exert my power and show you who's really boss, bitch. I'm
Yeah.
out.
Well, I guess
So-
it worked.
Yeah.
The legendary shapeshifter island phenomenon, Popo Mbawa,
Yeah.
it was about 50-50 in my research of if he was Shaitani or a
Vision?
mythological creature.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the Popo Mbawa began on the island of Pemba, where locals were terrorized into calling upon their fiercest sorcerer to drive him out across the sea to Zanzibar. He is said to be a foul-smelling demon who paralyzes his prey and violates them, both men and women alike. He has one eye and resembles a bat. Some believe that he acts like a poltergeist, creating mischief, but others report more menacing attacks on entire households. Hysteria of the Popo Mbawa's arrival led locals to beat to death a mentally handicapped man who they had convinced themselves was the demon.
Well,
That's
and I
sad.
think
That
one of
happens
the
a
individuals,
lot.
like, claimed they were, like, they confessed, but they were mentally ill, and then they, like, beat him and stabbed him to death.
Yeah. There's a lot of, witch hunts, quote unquote,
Yeah.
or mythical beast or whatever hunts that were, like we were just talking about, due to mental illness or a substance abuse or an injury or an illness. You know, like syphilis can make you see things here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, there's so many cases of, like, some people think that the Salem witch trials were because LSD from mushrooms was in the drinking water and everything. So it's, like, super... I love studying, like, examples of mass hysteria and what could be the scientific cause for them. Because I love being interested in, like, the supernatural side of things, like the witches, but also, like, looking for the actual reason. So it's a pastime of mine.
Yeah. But luckily, after this violent outbreak, the Popo Mbawa is believed to have retreated, but many believe that he is going to return. Now, I know Bree also did some research on this, so I'm going to let her talk about her side.
Okay. So, I read that the Popo Mbawa means winged bat, and legend says that the bat can transform into a man at night. They've been blamed for rapes of women, but...
Is there only one? There's one? Or
No.
is it a race?
I was
Of, like,
reading it was
creatures.
one. Like, a Popo Mbawa.
Okay, so... Maybe. I was thinking it was, like, a race of creatures, but that does make sense, because I guess they generally refer to...
It is a singular.
Yeah, I was just thinking it was more... It had to be more of a race, because it was so...
But since it's a demon...
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And they do, like, possess and shit.
Right.
Yeah. So, but they, from what I understood from my research, they mostly like to rape men. They would sodomize them in their beds while they were sleeping. So men of a village would sit up and, like, link arms around a fire outside at night so that they could, like, protect themselves and their families from the Popo Mbawa. Like, the Popo Mbawa could, like, hypnotize people, I think it said, in some legends.
So it's kind of like a
it's a vampire.
Or
No,
a vampire.
So really, I have a note about that. So it's literally in Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1.
Yeah.
I'm so serious. I'm so serious. Well, in the book Breaking Dawn in general.
Right.
But when the woman sees, I forgot her name, Bella, and was, like, freaking out about all that shit. Like, this
South
is
America?
literally,
Oh, yeah.
it's really, because,
Well, almost every culture has a vampire myth.
yeah.
And
So,
if it's not blood, it's energy that they drink, which is the same thing.
well, and they're referred to along the same lines as an incubus.
Yeah.
And so, an astrologer of note in Tanzania says that it's a spirit that is released by witches to torture their enemies. And
It's interesting that it's a man attacking a man.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they did say
It
raping
attacks
women,
women, too.
and I think Carrie had mentioned that
Yeah.
her research was slightly different, but I did note, so they did say, like I said, raping women, but a lot of my research specifically concentrated on, like, sodomizing men.
Well, and men get assaulted too by supernatural beings and by people, so it's important to talk about, and it's glossed over a lot that men can be victims of assault as well.
Yeah. So, and it wasn't just shape-shifting, like, I guess they could also paralyze people with their one eye, which is how they would, like, rape an entire household in a short period of time. Yeah. Which is why the men would sit up around the fires to protect the households. And he could possess humans and use them as mouthpieces to spread dark rumors. And I also read that he would mostly go after people, who did not believe in it or in, like, dark spirits and stuff. And
It's
to,
common
like,
too.
to convince them and also to make them spread the word.
That they were there.
Yeah.
Like a fear monger. He likes
Yeah.
spreading the fear.
Yeah. So, like Carrie said, one-eyed dwarf with, like, bat-like wings and also pointed ears and sharpened talons. So sometimes they appear in a puff of smoke, usually on the smaller Spice Island of Pemba, like you said. And it pops up in a lot of times of political turmoil. Like, the Popo Mbawa, you will see, it's like, oh, new election for, like, the president, and, like, a lot of times of political turmoil.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot more, but I'm going to let you take it away.
It's like a time of stress for people too, so that makes sense.
Okay, so there are witches and sorcerers.
Cool.
They're a way to either obtain or get rid of Shetani's influence. So one of which is the mganga, which is Swahili for witch. Don't worry, I'm not going to keep saying mganga, although it is really fun to say. But you can visit them and pay a hefty price. Mganga is a trade that runs in families.
Cool.
From father to son or mother to daughter, and they teach secrets and charms from generations past. Each mganga has contact with about 10 Shetani who work in their favor for their customers.
Oh,
Fun fact, there is an official government license to practice mganga.
that's incredible.
Oh, didn't they talk about that in Wine and Crime when Kenyon was talking about how they're registered, like, witch doctors or
Yes.
whatever? Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I meant
I thought that was really interesting.
they're using homeopathic medicine, and if you do homeopathic medicine, you should have a license.
Right.
Just because it has a name that has a negative connotation.
Oh, yeah.
I love regulation and getting them
Oh, yeah.
the support
Yeah.
and recognition. Yeah.
You can also seek out and experience waganga, which is Swahili for sorcerer. You see why I'm not going to keep going back and forth between these. So,
Yeah, we don't have the subtleties of their language down enough to understand the difference between those two. They're so close.
yeah. So, waganga can have Shetani bring you wealth and presents, but you need to protect yourself by hanging a piece of paper with specific Arabic verses written on it from your ceiling. Otherwise, you're asking for great trouble. So,
Okay.
unlike the
Sounds like a
mganga,
risk.
right. So,
There's always a price to pay.
the mganga are family witches. Wow, let me restart that. Unlike the family witches, the waganga, or sorcerers, meet in large groups to initiate new recruits and discuss their trade. So it's more of the cultural buy-in to it rather than the lineage.
Typically younger people, I'm assuming.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
So this helps them keep their customers safe, and many mganga, family witches, are initiated into the waganga, sorcerers, because, quote, if you get something wrong with Shetani, people can die.
Okay, so it's like a coven, so they protect each other.
Right.
Okay.
And so, exactly. So you have your family lineage of mganga, but you can join
Join
the
a
coven of waganga.
Because you have the support of the
To
bigger
get the
group of
support.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is a vetting process there
Yeah.
for older waganga to, check and see you have the knowledge, the skills.
It's like
Yeah.
the battle to become the supreme
Right.
in American Horror Story Coven.
Yes. So, waganga, the sorcerers, are also herbologists who
Okay,
prepare
that's-
medicines for either physical or occult treatment, and both in severe cases.
Yeah, so homeopathic medicine. Sure.
Right. So, to leave you with some awesome quotes from a The Guardian article, graveyards are the home of ghosties. When houses are built on top of these graves, the ghosties must move into the houses. That being
Yeah.
said, I'm not the only one who uses the word ghosties, because
Yeah.
ghosties was the word used in the article.
That's amazing.
Also, tying everything together, I mentioned the 1896 war, the shortest war in history, and the revolution of 1964, both of which were incredibly gruesome, and more vengeful spirits remained once the dust settled.
Yeah.
One of the guides from The Guardian also believes that the Shetani of Stonetown enjoy taunting non-believers of ghosts, and, quote, if a ghostie comes to visit tonight, remember, they are scared of you as well.
Aw, yeah. So when we were in Colorado, Colin's uncle is a part owner of a store in Grand Lake, and so to protect Carrie and Bree, we brought Bree a dream catcher, and we brought Carrie Navajo ghost beads.
I'm so excited.
Which-
I'm so excited too.
So I figured some protection just in...
Yes. Which, mine is perfect because it has juniper berries,
Uh-huh.
which is used to make gin, and the glass beads are purple, which is my favorite color.
Yeah, but both of them are to protect you from evil spirits and
Yes.
nightmares.
And I have trouble with sleeping in nightmares,
I
so this
know.
is perfect.
Okay, so I am eating some more rice as we do this, just a heads up.
Also, I definitely finished off the rest of the rice pilaf because
it was good.
It was
so good. So that would be my 5th.
So this is a New York Times article from April 9th, 1972. Deep dive for this. And it talks about Sheikh Abid Amani Karume, who was a one-time sailor who ruled Zanzibar under a stern socialist regime. And he brought in Peking technicians to help develop the island. He was shot to death there last night by 4 men. The Tanzanian government, with Zanzibar's United, reported today that Sheikh Karume had been killed and 2 members of the two members of the Revolutionary Council, of which he was chairman, had been wounded in the shooting at a political headquarters. Ooh. They were playing a card game when they struck. So he was.
They were just playing a card game.
Oh, so he was assassinated. That's a political assassination, and a lot of people attended his funeral. But that was in the 70s. More recently, in 2003, a British man who had a house on the beach was killed in his home by a home invasion. So it was 10 attackers came in.
Damn.
His wife and 2 kids were fine, and he was shot in the stomach.
Ooh.
Because he was interfering. Like, I don't think it was an I don't think it was intended to be a murder. I think it got out of hand.
Man, that's rough.
Yeah, so he died. They smashed on the door. He was shot with a 9mm pistol. Everyone was in bed. So he stole things. And they even said it was not personal. It was not, this was not a hit or a murder. It was an accidental homicide during a home invasion.
Yeah.
Not saying these men weren't ruthless, but I don't think it wasn't like they planned it.
Yeah.
And then this isn't a murder, which is typically what I do, because if I open it up to just all true crime, there's
a lot.
So much. So there was an acid attack by 2 British teenagers who had acid thrown on them, and this is in 2013. They were working at a daycare, like volunteering, and they had acid thrown on them. Some people say it was Al-Qaeda. Some people say it was because it was during Muslim holiday. But the lady who ran the preschool was like, they were dressed completely appropriately. We don't know, but they were clearly foreign teenagers.
Do you remember when that was a thing? Like, let's go throw acid on people.
It still is.
Yeah, it is.
I know, but it was like really popular for a while there.
Yeah. Well, and this was 2013, people, so that's probably when we're thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was researching, that was a really big one that came up of like Zanzibar, the island of magic, also terrible because acid.
Yeah, but sorry, I'm eating more rice.
How the fuck do you get access to acid like super casually?
It's
I know you
hard.
can buy
It's not
muriatic acid, but like
you can distill acid.
Yeah.
Real easily.
That's fair.
We're not, by the way, for our FBI agent who is listening to this.
I call him Surveillance Van Dan.
I could do it with a acid face peel though. My skin's a little dull right now.
Okay,
I
just did one and I'm breaking out hardcore. So
well, that's how it works.
I'm
though,
not
right?
bougie enough for that shit. So
That's what I said. I'll have to use distilled ketchup and get it down to just the vinegar or something and do my face.
Yeah, no, like I have a zit right underneath my eyebrow.
That's
I see it.
worst.
It's so painful.
So you can't blink or express.
Expressing hurts, which is a problem because I'm a very expressive person, and literally by not raising my eyebrows to get me out of our BF, hurts my face. So I'm just gonna have RBF for the rest of my life.
RBF.
Okay, so here's where my stretch comes in. And if anyone has anything to say about it, I have heard way worse stretches in other true crime comedy podcasts.
That's fair.
I'm not throwing shade. I am being inspired by
Are we a
this.
comedy? Are we a comedy?
Yeah,
we're hilarious.
We
dude.
think we're funny.
I know we think we're funny.
That's all that
but
matters.
do others qualify us as a comedy?
As long as we think we're funny.
Our listeners in multiple countries now think we're funny.
Shout out to Ireland now.
Also, my favorite thing is that almost exclusively female listeners.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And then Joe just listens in.
Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Okay, so this case takes place in Boston in the 90s.
Throwback.
Okay, but how this case relates is our victim was last seen at a club called, wait for it, Zanzibar.
Wow.
Well done.
Uh-huh.
Well done.
That's how deep of a fucking dive I had to go to find something, okay? So our victim's last spot that we can confirm her at was technically in Zanzibar.
Well played.
Thank you. So this is also an unsolved, it's an open case, which you know I really like doing.
Yeah.
Which they're rebooting.
Oh my gosh, guys, Unsolved
I'm so
Mysteries tomorrow.
Oh yeah. So my friend that I told you about that you would love,
Mhm.
she's the one who told me about that, and I was like, I have to tell Catherine now. She's gonna be so excited.
I am.
And by tomorrow, we mean like 2 weeks ago because that's when we recorded
Well,
this.
tomorrow I'm going to the zoo with my nephew and my in-laws, and then we coming home, and I'm watching every single episode, and I will solve these mysteries.
I'm
Yes.
so excited.
Okay. And then Hamilton comes out on the 3rd. Excuse me. So many things are happening.
I'm so excited! Oh my god!
Rita's had a meltdown. Like, she grabbed the top of her face and, like, pulled it down.
I'm so excited.
Oh, me too.
But guys, my mom's here until the 7th, so we can't watch it.
Have her
until
come.
After.
Karen
mean,
can come.
Karen does not want to watch Hamilton. I listen to Hamilton and Karen's like,
Alexander
Brianna Lee, what the
Hamilton.
fuck is wrong with you?
Oh, Karen. Okay,
Karen.
back to the story of Karina Holmer. Okay.
Oh.
Serious time.
So I do want to give a shout out to a podcast called Trace Evidence. It is not a true crime comedy podcast. It is literally just the facts, and he does an excellent job. Colin really was interested in it.
I'm gonna have to add this one.
He's not as huge, but he has like I think over 100 episodes, and he does like extensive academic research
That's awesome.
I'm
on
adding
each one,
this.
and he strictly, his opinion is not involved. It is just facts on the case. He also has a blog that goes with it, and you can actually get transcripts of all of his things. So yeah, it's called Trace Evidence, and Colin and I listened to the episode to help me with research because I can't do research in the car on our way back from the trip because I can't read in the car. And it was
I can't either.
Oh no, I'll get motion sickness
Me
so bad.
too, so-
But also, sorry guys, I'm not fucking putting transcripts on the blog. Editing takes me long enough, so fuck off.
They don't need a transcript. Most of ours is nonsense anyways. Okay.
I have some really well thought out notes that have my little like just sayings in there.
So, the original article that went out in Boston, the headline was "Half a Body in a Dumpster." There are a ridiculous amount of similarities to the Black Dahlia
I was
case.
about to say, this
Yeah.
is so Black Dahlia.
But it's very different in the way that her body was found, but there are similarities. So, her body, she was like 19 to 20. I think she was 19, but her birthday was around there somewhere.
Oh.
So,
Oh.
what happened? Karina Holmer was killed in 1996, and she was a Swedish au pair. So,
Oh, yes, I've heard about this. Okay, sorry, I'm shutting up.
So
Yeah.
what happened is she grew up in a small town in Sweden, and she won the Swedish lottery. And I have no notes, guys, by the way. This is just me remembering things, so get ready. So she won the Swedish lottery, won the equivalent of $1,500 US. She had always wanted to travel. So growing up, she did scouts and was really interested in animals. And they don't have gender-specific scouts there. It's just scouts. So she did that, and
I
she
respect that.
yeah, it's really cool. But of course, it's Sweden, so of course,
Right.
And so she liked to be outside. She was really artistic, liked to do art. She loved animals, and she wanted to travel and see the world. And so in the 90s, like even now, I guess America is like someplace that people want to go experience because it is, it's part of the Western world, but it's real different.
Yep.
And so she won that $1,500, and she used that to get a ticket to come live in Dover, which is just outside of Boston.
Mm-hmm.
An au pair for a family. So she started working for the family for Frank Rapp and Susan Nichter. So they both had prominent careers, and so they have different last names, and then their two kids. So Frank was a commercial photographer, and he had a loft in downtown Boston. That's going to be important, where he did his photo shoots. And then Susan was an artist. like visual artist, watercolors, I think.
Okay.
I looked at some of her work, but I think it's watercolor because I looked at her paintings, and we'll talk about those. And then there are 2 little kids.
Oh, big.
So she started working for them. This family was definitely wealthy. They had this au pair who would come all the way from Sweden. But when she came over, she did not go through legal au pair training company.
Okay.
She didn't have the funds for it. It's very expensive.
Oh
and
yeah, I looked
you have
into
to go
it. I was
through.
gonna be an au
Yeah,
pair.
you have to go through a lot of tests, obviously, because people like want to give you the experience to go to another country, but you're also there to like help their kids.
children.
So they
Yeah.
have to vet you, you know. And so she kind of went through like a back alleyway and got a fake ID, which comes into play later.
Okay.
And that's how she got into the country. And it's also why some of the issues with the law may happen later.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of the basis of her childhood coming to work here. So at the beginning, it seems that things were going really well. She wrote letters to her family that were all pretty positive. And she wrote a couple letters to her friends that started getting a little bit more dark, but mostly it was like, I'm doing a lot more cleaning than I thought I would be doing.
Yeah.
Which, like, it is kind of her, like, that's part of her job. I understand that sucks. But that was, like, her complaint about the family.
Right.
She was doing more housework. Until one letter that she sent to her friend that just said, something terrible has happened. I'll tell you more about it later.
Yeah.
And saying that she may come home. That's all we heard
I do
about
remember this.
that letter.
Yeah.
So, she liked to do like the whole 90s club scene.
Yes.
And she would stay at the loft that he used for his photography on the weekends, so like she could go out and live in downtown Boston. Which part of me is like, that's really cool. My family, if we had had an au pair and a downtown flat, that would have been something that would have been like, yeah, you go away for the weekend so that you don't have to deal with the kids because you don't want to stay where you work.
Yeah.
And the other part of me is like, that's a little fishy. I hope he wasn't being creepy. But he wasn't there when she was there because he was home with the kids. So I'm assuming
It wasn't
that it was
creepy?
fine, but I don't know because it depends on what theory you believe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Colin and I's theory that we discussed in depth is a little bit different than I think the most common theories are.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I love
it's
that
actually
you and
summer.
Colin discussed this theory.
Yes.
It makes me so happy.
Mm-hmm. So, 1996, she's at the club with her friends, which was literally called the like Swedish Nannies group.
Yeah.
It sounds like a porno. Like,
It really does.
These women,
And she was
were-
also gorgeous.
She was
From
beautiful.
Yeah.
And so these women were already like hypersexualized, and clubbing culture is very different in Europe. It's like less dangerous than it is here.
Yeah.
Because it's
I can
like,
attest to that. Like,
Yeah.
studied abroad in Italy and went to the clubs all the fucking time.
like it's
so.
it's such a part of culture there that like if you are to drunk people like take care of you.
Yeah.
Versus here, she was like partying, right? She got drunk and passed out in the bathroom, and so the bouncer just kicked her out on the streets.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that's, I mean, I can understand if she's ill, she needs to go home. But you can't just kick a
Put
super...
her in a fucking cab.
Right.
Like, they literally, and so she went out, she was seen dancing with like a homeless man,
Yep.
which just makes me think she's a drunk girl. I
Yeah.
think that man had nothing to do with
Yep.
this, but a pretty
Yep.
girl wanted to dance with him.
But they like to try and pin it on
They
him.
do like to try and pin it on
Yeah.
him. They also, one witness said that they saw her get into a car with 4 men,
Yeah.
but that has no other substantiation. They do know that she talked to a man named Witten, who had a Great Pyrenees,
Hey-ho.
but
That's
he could be a
what my-
murderer, so wait.
Didn't
I
have
know.
like a ball cap, and they're like sandy blonde hair, some shit like that. They're
No.
like,
So he wore a Superman shirt.
Oh, that's
and he
right,
put
that's
a
it.
Superman shirt on his Pyrenees.
that's
Yeah.
it.
And
that's
he
it.
was not from the city.
Yeah.
He would drive into the city at night and walk the bar strip,
Yeah.
matching with his dog. I think he's just an awkward dude who wanted to try and talk to girls.
Right, because dogs are a really easy way to
And
do
that's
that.
what he said.
Honestly,
He admitted
though,
that.
I will swipe right on a dog every
Okay,
time.
so I met my husband on Tinder because his main picture was him and his dog.
Honestly,
Which was a Great
every
Pyrenees.
time.
And
Good job, Zach.
I know, good job,
He played
babe.
the system.
He did. And luckily I talked to him extensively before I met him, so I knew he wasn't a fucking murderer.
Well, and I don't
Good
think
job,
this
Zach.
man was a murderer either. Actually, a lot of people think it was him because he
Yeah.
did commit suicide
Yeah.
a few months afterwards. His lawyer said it was the stress of being considered a suspect.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I think that, you know, insomnia is a part of a lot of mental illnesses, and he was walking in the city for something to do because he couldn't sleep. You know what I mean? So I think that was just a sad coincidence that this man was probably not mentally well, because I don't think it's him. The cops initially ruled him out as a suspect because he got a speeding ticket, but she was missing for like 18 hours. So she could have been in the back of his car when he got the speeding ticket. But to me, that doesn't make sense, because why would you drive back to the city then to dispose of her body? You don't want to move things too quickly.
But also, his dog would have absolutely been going nuts if it knew another human was there.
Well, yeah. Well, I was going to say, she could have been alive. I was going to say, especially if she's dead, because with humans, we say, like, that smell just smells wrong, but, like, animals freak the fuck out.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
especially dogs. Like,
dogs have that instinct.
House-trained dogs, like, that stay mostly in the home. They're like, oh, fuck no, this is wrong. Alert everyone.
Dogs' noses are 1,000 times stronger than humans. Where Zach and I did Google search on this earlier, because cats are only, like, 6 to 8 times stronger. But, yeah, dogs' noses are insane.
Yeah, and I can tell you, so my sister... We had a lot of animals when we were younger, and she had mice. And I walked into her room one time, and one of her mice had died. No, remember how small mice are? I literally walked through the doorway on the opposite catty corner side of the fucking room, and I could smell her tiny-ass mouse in its cage dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine what that's like for a dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so, I don't think it was him.
Yeah.
Some people call this the Boston Black Dahlia case, because she's missing for several hours. She was last seen at a club. And then the next, well, I guess it's like a day and a half later, a homeless man was searching through a dumpster.
Yeah.
And he found, just from the waist up, that had been neatly cut away.
Yeah.
She had been cleaned, even her makeup had been taken off, like someone
was
had washed her.
Was she clothed, though?
They don't actually, so I've heard it both ways.
Yeah. Okay. Because I've heard it both ways, so I didn't know.
No, then that's something that, like, they say, like, and because it's still an open case, so they haven't officially released anything, but he found her body in a bag and immediately freaked out, got police there. They searched everywhere, could not find her lower half, still has never been found.
Wow.
There's theories for that. Some people think it's because she was pregnant by her host family, dad, and that he cut her there so that they wouldn't see that she was pregnant. Yeah. Another one is that she was sexually assaulted, and so they took her lower half. Another one is just that someone was sick. Colin and I think it's because the person who murdered her couldn't move her body.
Yep. We talked about this in Black Dahlia.
I think that it's
so hard
dead
to
weight
move.
is dead weight.
Hard to move. And so hard. And it weighed like, she was petite. She was a petite girl, but it still weighed like 48 pounds, and it was just the top part of her.
Yeah.
Well, it's awkward to.
Yep.
Yeah, she was in a bag.
Yeah.
And he like felt it and said it felt weird, so he opened it up.
Sorry. That just reminded me of the mini-sode that we need to do on Seattle.
Oh my gosh.
Megan also sent me that, and I was like, yes, we need to do this.
So,
we should record that.
Sorry, we need more rice.
I first thought you said we need more rice, and I was like, yes, we do. And I registered you saying I'm eating more rice, and I was like, oh, no more rice.
Okay.
So, her ID was fake.
Yeah.
Through the au pair system. It was posted on the news that a blonde girl's body was found in a dumpster. The host family calls and says, I think this is our au pair. Which is sketchy as fuck, because blonde girl is not enough.
Nope.
But a couple days later, there was a dumpster fire on the condo property of her host family.
Yep.
But they searched it and didn't find anything.
And do you know how hot and how long something has to burn to fucking...
I mean, they could have had, like, personal, like, letters or something, maybe, but there's no way her body was in that dumpster.
No.
It has to be so fucking hot, and it has to burn for so long to burn bones and shit to ash.
Oh, so, I don't think she was in there, but it was a weird coincidence. Okay? So, her body's been found. They, her friends identify the body. Okay. The people, so her host family immediately lawyers up
Yep.
when they start getting questions, which
Fair.
I would do immediately.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
Just saying.
Also, it's suspicious if you refuse to take a lie detector test, but never take a motherfucking lie detector test because half the time they're wrong and they will make you seem guilty when you're not.
Well, and also, it's not admissible in court, but they will
Yep.
make you look
Yep.
guilty based
Yep.
upon it
Yes.
regardless.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pretty sure you can fake those hoes with, like, putting a metal needle in your fucking shoe or some against your soul or some bullshit like that I read once.
Well, and, like, I'm a nervous person anyway,
Oh,
so,
God,
like, my
yeah.
heart rate would be through the roof. They'd be thinking I was lying about my name.
That's like if someone were to ever pull me over thinking I was, like, driving drunk and they were to ask me to do the alphabet backwards, I was like, bitch, I can't do that when I'm
No.
sober.
Like,
And
I
like-
get ZYXWV, and I'm like, I'd have no idea after that.
I can't get that far. I have to redo the whole thing in my head. Sorry.
I have to sing the song to even go straight, like, from the
Same.
top to the beginning to the end. Okay, so suspects. We talked about Herb Whitten, the Superman dog guy. I don't think it's him.
Mm-hmm.
So Frank and Susan, her host parents, investigated as suspects. So Frank apparently was kind of creepy. Neither one of them had an alibi for the night when she was murdered, and they had the dumpster fire. So a lot of people think it's unlikely that it would be involved with them, just because they could have just gotten her deported instead of killing her.
Right.
Because she was there illegally. If they didn't do it, I think they were hesitant because she was illegal.
Right.
And she shouldn't, like, they could have gotten in trouble too.
Yeah.
So part of me thinks that it's just that, plus their kids are probably traumatized.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're trying to deal with that. So someone who definitely is not a suspect in my book at all, but I want to talk about him. So he was considered, his name is John Zweis. He is a musician, and he was considered a suspect because he lived not too far from where the body was found.
Yeah.
And during an investigation afterward, he got more addicted to heroin, but he's a 90s grunge singer. Okay, first of all.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the band Sleep Chamber were his band, and they did like themes of S&M and bondage. And he made a comment once about legs that he used for like rituals.
Oh, no.
But like,
Yeah.
it is clearly part of his like bad guy mystique.
Yeah.
It is. This dude had no idea what the fuck was going on. But that's how little they knew that they were like, oh, BDSM grunge singer. It's him.
Also, you can be a legs guy without being a fucking legs
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
So,
Like, come on now, folks.
so
My husband likes my legs on my body.
yeah.
Fur. I don't have a husband, but yeah. I usually like them attached.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hey, if you're into prosthetics, that's okay too.
That is fine.
Yeah, not where I was going with that, but good point.
Well, I just wanted
good job,
to-
Carrie.
I wanna be
No,
inclusive.
No, I'm approving of that.
As long as you were not murdered to get your legs, whatever your legs
right.
look
I
like,
was just
they're
about
okay.
to say. I was just about to say. So for all the serial killers who are listening to this podcast, do not hit me up.
There is one guy who just like sighs and turns off his. God damn. Okay.
I'm
So,
convinced we're attracting serial killers.
the theories of her death. We talked about one, we talked about a couple. Okay, so, since there was no traces of DNA and she was, like, cleaned, so this is my big thing. The fact that her makeup was removed.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I think that it was Susan. I think it was the mom. That's Colin and I think
Okay.
that.
Gotcha.
We think that maybe she was having an affair
with
and either with the husband or with the mom. We don't
Interesting.
know.
Yeah.
They're
No,
artistic.
that's a fair point.
They're super
Yeah,
artistic.
Yeah.
She said something bad had happened, but never said what it was.
Right.
And I think it was the mom, and this is probably not super fair because art is so open to interpretation, but she has a couple of paintings that are dark.
Yeah.
Like woman being held from the back.
Yeah.
Hands floating, like blonde women floating and stuff. So I don't know if maybe they had a relationship, or if maybe he killed her and she's manifesting guilt, or maybe she's just sad that she lost someone that was living in her home and she's doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the process of
Grief.
Grief.
So it could
Not
be
guilt,
completely
grief.
So-
unrelated, but
Yeah.
with the fact that someone had to make her easier to carry.
Right.
Yeah. I like that theory.
In fact,
See,
her makeup was removed. Colin's like, you
Yeah.
can scrub really hard to get makeup off. I'm like, no, you can't.
No.
This girl had 90s eyeliner on.
Oh, yeah.
You had to
makeup,
use makeup
white,
remover.
like
Yeah.
some type of remover. Yes.
You had to.
You had to
Yeah.
clean it.
to get 90s eyeliner
That's
off.
funny though.
Because, like, even in modern day, I have to scrub my
Yes.
face after a night out.
So
because,
that's funny that you mentioned that
goodness.
because after Colin's birthday party, when it was just me and the boys out here, and I'm using my makeup wipes to remove my makeup, and they're like, "Is that how makeup comes off?" And I'm like, "I mean, ish.
Yeah.
Like it is a part of the process." Like, so it's funny.
This is
but-
step one, babies.
Yeah, right. But it's interesting because I like your theory better. I had always kind of fallen in line with the theory that it was the husband that she was having the affair with, but and that he had murdered her. But I like your theory better.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
even if she had the affair with the husband, I like the wife better for the murder.
Well, and someone thinks that they may have known human anatomy, which artists in art school, you study human
Yeah,
anatomy.
yeah. Figure drawing and all
of
that
where
shit.
she was cut.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And a
like,
woman
even
would know
in
where to
music.
cut.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, a woman would know where to cut another woman to make sure.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because, like, her uterus, everything was gone.
Yeah.
Ooh. I like the wife for the suspect.
So that's what
Okay.
Colin and I talked about. She also had dated a police officer, and the police were automatically
Yeah.
like, no, it wasn't him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
probably wasn't him, but also Boston police was super corrupt at this time.
Also, Golden State Killer. What?
Heyo.
Just.
Which, that's a relevant
Oh.
case right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was. When you sent me that article, man.
Oh,
Sorry, I just.
thank goodness.
That.
I just,
Yeah. Yeah. Over
Um,
60 cases of fucking rape.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Sorry.
Well, no, he's horrible. But also, there's also the theory that it was just a random attack, and she was in Target because she was intoxicated outside, which
Yeah.
which could be possible.
Yes, but to
Um,
cut someone in half like that.
But-
And also to not be able to find her legs. Like that.
Yeah, they
that's
still
what
don't know where they
really,
are.
That's what
I think
really
they were
bothers
probably
me.
in another dumpster that had been cleared out before they
Yeah.
could have a chance to
Right.
It's like an episode of Bones, man.
Yep.
look. You know, like, I think that's probably, like, sometimes the most logical explanation is the explanation.
Occam's razor.
Yep.
Isn't that it? Occam's razor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it probably just, like, because they certainly looked, but you can't search every single dumpster. And it's right outside of Fenway.
Boston. Yeah.
So there's, like, a lot of foot traffic there. And so that is my case. Colonized theory is, I don't know, she's like a living woman with a website and everything. Like, she's, like, still a working woman. So I'm certainly not accusing her. But it is a theory that no one had talked about. So we talked about it.
I like the wife for the murder.
But it's like, what, 23 years ago or so? So it's an old case, but if someone could come forward,
Yeah.
we could still get information and get that closed up. 'Cause,
Oh
like,
my god, and we could do a follow up because that would be
Yeah.
so interesting.
Oh my
and
gosh.
just
So I think
so
the
great.
current state attorney, district attorney in Washington is looking into the case, because I know the police chief is still active, and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
still devastated.
Yeah.
Because he was never able to get any sort of justice for this girl. And because they literally had nothing.
Yeah.
They had zero physical evidence besides
Yeah.
her body that was cleaned.
Yeah.
That's it.
That would be so hard.
Uh-huh.
As police chief, or in general, like anyone involved with that, any case like that, like that would be
That's
so
tough.
hard. Honestly,
The only
I
thing
will
that they
repeat-
have is eyewitness testimony.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will
Which is
repeat.
so
If you
unreliable.
ever need
Right.
someone to just type up fucking cold case files to get the shit in the system, hit me up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would be so happy to help with that because I feel like there's so much backlog and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you enjoyed your tour of Zanzibar.
Kwaheri!
Sorry, I'm eating rice.
Follow us on Instagram at Darkside Tour Guides and on Twitter at Darkside Guides. Give us a like on Facebook at Darkside Tour Guides. Visit the blog at darksidetourguide.wordpress.com or email us at darksidetourguides@gmail.com.